Rats and mice. I know this is a huge problem right now. I feel like everyone's dealing with it. So we're going to talk a lot about this. Again, we're going to go with our exclusion and our prevention. We're going to replace weather stripping, making sure our doors, windows, and our garage doors have a tight fit. We're going to add 1/4-inch harbor cloth, 1/8-inch harbor cloth on certain vents that might need to have extra protection against embers in the fire season. We use 1/4-inch hardware cloth because mice and young rats can fit through a hole that's 3/8 inch or more, and 3/8 inch is the diameter of a pencil. So any crack that you can fit a pencil, a mouse and a young rat can get through. That's why we're using 1/4-inch hardware cloth, because that's a little bit smaller and they can't chew through it. We're also going to trim trees and vines away from the house and fence lines so that they can't get into our roof and attic. Rats can jump up to 3 feet, so you really want to make sure the tree branches are far away. And then we're going to make sure that we keep our pet food safe in a secure container that rodents can't eat through. In the garden, we're going to remove places of harborage, like places where they like to nest, which would be ivy and other dense brush. We're going to remove any food sources like old veggies and fruit on the ground. We're going to contain our compost bins and chicken coops. We're going to keep our lids on our garbage cans very secure, and we're going to avoid free feeding our pets, especially at night outside. We're going to remove our bird feeders and any other food sources. The Good Nature CO2 trap right here is a very safe and effective, humane way to manage outdoor rats if you need a good trap for outdoors. And then more on traps, we like to work with snap traps. They're the most effective and humane way to manage rats and mice. If you're having some problems or if you're not having success right away, there are a few tricks you can try. One is to be really creative with your bait. It's not just cheese and peanut butter. It's chewy granola bar, fig Newton. If they're already going after your dog's kibble, use the kibble. Maybe put a little bead of glue on there so it sticks to the trap. Walnuts or other nuts, even a Slim Jim or a meat stick could work. Get creative and try new things. Also, if you're not having success in the first couple days, you want to either try moving the trap, or because rats are very suspicious of new things, you want to try to leave the trap out, bait it, but don't set it, and let them feed off of it for a couple days to get used to it. That's also a good way to find out what they like and what they're going to go for. And then on the 3rd or 4th day, if you're having success with them taking the bait, then you set it, and that'll be more effective. That'll be more successful. You want to make sure that you're removing the death immediately, so check the traps at least once a day, if not more. With the wooden trap, like that Victor one in the middle, you can just throw the whole thing in a garbage bag and seal it and put it in the garbage. If you have a reusable trap like the one on the bottom left, you want to remove the death into a bag, put it in the garbage, and then rinse the trap. Rats can smell the death, and they would avoid it if they can smell it. So you want to make sure it's clean. And I just want to make 2 notes on some other products that you can find a lot in stores. Glue traps. We don't recommend using them. I don't recommend using them. They don't kill the animal. You're going to still have to kill the rodent. So it's not, by certain definitions, it's not very humane. And then poison baits. They're designed to have the rodent feed off of them multiple times. It's not meant to be an immediate death. They don't just eat the poison and drop dead. It could take up to 14 days to kill them. The poison bait has to be the only thing that they're eating, and they have to eat it multiple times. So if they're eating some bait and then some poison, and then they're eating apples in your yard or doggy kibble, they're it's going to water down the poison, and it's going to take a very long time to kill the rodent. In the meantime, that rodent could be picked up by a dog, a cat, a hawk, and that could cause a lot of harm or even death to that animal. So we don't want to cause secondary kills, which is why we don't recommend poison baits. Exclusion is really effective and important, especially in the garden, both the home and the garden. So using exclusion baskets over your vegetable gardens. All three of these photos were taken at the Garden for the Environment in San Francisco. They had a really bad rat problem this summer. They still are dealing with it. So they have these different kinds of exclusion cages. They can be very simple, like the one on the left, which is just hardware cloth draped over some PVC piping. Or they can be really elaborate, like the beautiful custom handmade one that was made by a volunteer. Big Fun Gardens is their company. A handmade custom exclusion cage that will go over the raised bed, and you can still access the veggies. And then a curious thing in the Bay Area, rats and voles tend to chew bark off of citrus in both San Francisco and San Mateo in this area. So if you've experienced this, there's a few things you can do. You can either wrap your trees with sleeves of 1/4-inch hardware cloth to keep the rats out, or you can use, stores sell this material called tree wrap. It's kind of like an ace bandage for your tree, like a stretchy banding material that you can wrap around the bark to protect it.